No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by PlayNow, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
The optimist would say that the power play is back to being a good one. 2 for 3 in tonight's game. The pessimist would say the Winnipeg Jets are on a 3-game losing streak. Both statements are accurate. The question for you, our loyal audience, is: are you a pessimist? Are you an optimist? Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Along with Dave Manouk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss the Winnipeg Jets dropping their third straight game. This one, a 3-2 decision at the hands of the New York Islanders. Only the third time this year that the Jets have had a 3-game losing streak. The first one ended with a 4-game losing streak. Then there was the 3-game losing streak towards the end of December, if I recall correctly. And now this one. So the Jets clearly going through a little bit of some offensive struggles, I would suggest, Dave Manouk. Not at full strength for tonight's game. No Dylan Samberg tonight, when you definitely noticed it on the Jets back end, everyone having to elevate a little bit. But if you look at it strictly from the 5-on-5 perspective, no 5-on-5 goals for the Winnipeg Jets tonight. 1 5-on-5 goal for the Winnipeg Jets on Saturday night. And then the game before that, the loss in Nashville, 1 5-on-5 goal. So 2 5-on-5 goals in the last 3 games is not a recipe for success. Good to see you, though, on this Tuesday evening.
Yeah, I mean, good to see you too, Drew. And, I understand the folks are less than pleased, and the Jets are not playing particularly great hockey. I mean, they had some looks. Remember, the New York Islanders, and they didn't have an onerous back-to-back going from New York City to Elmont, New York. Not exactly too difficult a journey, although traffic can sometimes get pretty congested in the New York area, Drew, especially when they're doing that congestion pricing and all that stuff. Although I think they got rid of that. But regardless of the machinations,
working for the New York City Tourism Bureau, and nobody told me. It's like when it's like when George Costanza got traded from the Yankees to what was it?
To the chicken place, Chester Chicken. Yeah.
Like that.
Anyways, so no, I mean, look, but the Islanders played last night. They had Sorokin in net last night, so I wasn't sure. They went 11-7, if I recall correctly, against the Rangers. So, this is a desperate Islanders team. They don't score a lot. They don't give up a lot of goals. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those games that you're happy, if you're a Jets fan, that at least they got the power play going and they got that sort of snapped out of it, because, we talked to Davis Payne before the team left yesterday. And one of the things he really focused on was this idea that at least their power play is getting better looks. He when he kind of did a snapshot of the previous 5 games, he said, there's 2 that weren't good. 1 was average, and the last 2 they were fine with. They just weren't getting, it wasn't falling for them. They were getting, obviously you got to credit the opposition's goaltending. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those games that the Jets, to me, what's a little bit inexplicable is that you come out on fire, you're out shooting your opponent 10-2, and then you don't get another shot for the next 15. I don't mean 15 minutes. I mean 15 shots. The
Islanders had the next 15 consecutive shots after the Jets had the 10-2 lead in shots.
Right, and it only kind of ended because the period ended, right? So the first period ended 17-10 in favor of the home team, and the Jets were kind of scrambling, and that's not a good place to be for the top team in the NHL. And I will say, and I'm not making excuses, but the Oilers have been in it. They were the first place team. Vegas has overtaken them now, and they had lost 5 in a row, and I think they're losing tonight again.
They are. They're down 4-1 on home ice to the Anaheim Ducks halfway through that game.
The only reason I knew that is because I saw some folks on Oilers Twitter saying, do they trade for John Gibson between the first and second periods? So I knew that things weren't going well at Edmonton.
Our old buddy Dave Jameson said that, I think.
Yeah. And also, I mean, look, the Washington Capitals, they just recently picked up a win, but they had lost 3 in a row. So look, the break came at a good time in terms of health. It seems to have killed the momentum that the Jets had. You can't deny that the Jets had momentum. Things were going in their favor. Things were falling in their favor. And even though they kept the streak alive, Drew, after the Four Nations break, as everyone who's in the chat knows, they weren't winning the games by virtue of how well they were playing. They were winning some games, but they weren't dominating the contests. And so not to the same degree that we had come to see before. And again, like I said, I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you what I've been watching with my own eyes.
Yeah, look, I agree with what you said. I thought, of the games in the losing streak, I thought this was probably the Jets' poorest performance. They started the game great, to your point, and we'll get into it when we get into the PlayNow game recap. They started off the right way, and then they just lost all the momentum, really, after that, the only unsuccessful power play that they had in tonight's game. I thought at that point in time, New York sort of snapped to it. And then from then on, even though it was a close game and it's a 3-2 game, and, frankly, the Jets came very close to tying it up at various points in time in that third period, I just didn't like the flow. I didn't like how the Jets were playing. I saw a lot of what I would describe
disconnected, if you will.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of connectivity. There was people fighting the puck that you're not used to seeing them fight the puck. I thought there were a lot of what I would describe as hope plays, where you fire a cross ice pass and you hope that your guy can knock it down, or that your guy can, your teammate can corral a puck that's out their shins. I just didn't see the connectivity that we usually see from the Winnipeg Jets when they're playing at their best. So this was not their best by any stretch of the imagination. I thought this was just a poor effort. Not a poor effort. I shouldn't say effort. The effort was fine. I just didn't think they had a lot tonight, especially after New York opened the scoring in this game. The Jets were in a chase mode for the entirety of the game. Credit to the Islanders. They were certainly desperate. Let's be honest, they're not going to be a playoff team, and anybody who thinks that they're all of a sudden going to go on some sort of miraculous run is probably fooling themselves. You hope Lou Lamoriello isn't one of those people, and as a result, he puts up the for sale sign on some of their assets, the Brock Nelsons, the Kyle Palmieris. We know the names that have been bandied about for the New York Islanders. Yeah, exactly. They're 3 points behind the Rangers for the final wild card spot right now, but they have 5 teams ahead of them. And even if they were to sneak in, they're one and done. They just don't have the requisite level of talent on their team to be considered a threat to anybody. But kudos to them. They got the win. They got it really largely on the back of Ilya Sorokin, who was, I think they lost 4-0 last night to the Rangers, if I'm not mistaken. So Sorokin gets the second half of the back-to-back, and he was very good for the Islanders tonight. The Jets weren't that good, and sometimes this is another one of those games, however, like all the games in this losing streak, that the advanced metrics prefer the Jets' performance to their opponent's performance. Whereas if they ran this simulation 1,000 times, the Jets would in fact come out ahead more times than not. So again, if you're a glass half full kind of person, you're looking at the small wins from the Jets' perspective, saying, yes, the loss is disappointing, but ultimately the underlying numbers are still looking well upon us. We're just in the midst of a struggle when it comes to getting some offense. And you wonder, that lack of offense at 5-on-5, I don't believe that that's going to become an ongoing issue for this Jets team. I think it might be an issue on this road trip, being perfectly honest. They had that bad Eastern Conference road trip last year, right around this time when they went to New Jersey. They won I think if I recall correctly, last year they went into New York, the Rangers, right around March, and they won in New York, and then they went to New Jersey and they lost in New Jersey, and they went to Washington, I think on a Saturday afternoon. And if I recall correctly, they were down 3-0 in the first period against the Washington Capitals last year around this time. Look, this is this is a tough road trip in the sense that you're playing all these teams that you don't have any reason to really get excited about playing them. They're in the opposing conference. They are not rivalry games. You know where you are in the standings. You're still in a very good spot. It's difficult to sort of get up for these games against Eastern Conference teams at this point in the season, given that you're sort of in the blah part of the season before the trade deadline happens on Friday, and then the rest of the season. Now you're downhill and you're getting ready for the playoffs. So I won't be surprised if the Jets' struggles continue for the next little bit, just because you sort of, if you want a dip, if there's going to be a dip, you don't mind the dip being on this road trip against these opponents at this time, simply because you need to ramp it up after that for more meaningful games to come down the stretch.
That's fair. And you were right, Drew. I went and quickly checked while you were chit-chatting, and it was a little bit later in this month, but you are right.
Spring break. I remember that because I was in Orlando. It was the end of March.
It was the 19th of March. They went into New York and won 4-2. Yeah. And then they lost to the New Jersey Devils, then the New York Islanders 6-3, and the Washington Capitals 3-0. They also lost one more to the Edmonton Oilers, that 4-3 overtime game. In fact, they didn't lose just one more game. They lost a total of 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row.
That's right. I remember that happening. Exactly right.
Yeah. So that was a little bit of a low point. Jets fans are going to hope that you're not wishing or not bringing that sort of bad juju to the next part of the schedule. But I mean, at the same time, like it is. Like hockey is going to tighten up, and this is what you have to expect. This is this final stretch of the season. And the reason I kind of grimaced at the end of your statement, Drew, is simply because I agree that, obviously having a lull now is fine. It's not the end of the world, but I don't think that you can just like magically ramp it up. I don't think you can, don't get me wrong. I think some teams are coasting a little bit. I think some teams are not playing. I don't think the Florida Panthers are playing at 100%. They know what it takes to win. They know what they need to do. And they're going to, figure out some LTIR machinations to figure out, because now they put Tkachuk on there till the end if he's able to play in the playoffs.
By the way, couldn't you somehow foresee if Carolina decides to trade Mikko Rantanen
to get him to Florida?
Couldn't you see him end up on Florida, given that Tkachuk is on LTIR and given the retention number isn't that big because part of Rantanen has already been retained? I don't know if Florida has the juice to make the trade happen.
Plus, if you're Carolina,
definitely know that Barry Zito is trying to figure out a way to put Rantanen next to Sasha Barkov, let the two Finns go have some fun for a playoff run. And by the way, if that happens, that's only happening because the owner, Tom Dundon, is such a dunderhead that he's making his general manager make that trade.
Yeah, I can't see how they would do that, but this isn't Hurricanes or Panthers lunch, so let's keep things focused here. But
there's very, there's not many goals to go through.
Five goals is a lot.
Five is better than it looked like it was only going to be 3 for a while, so I guess 5 is better.
For what we've seen the last little bit. I mean, it's 5 is quite a bit, but yeah, I mean, do I see them pulling off some? Like the truth is, and again, like I said, and I don't want to go off too far on a tangent, but like I saw a piece today in Sports talking about the Jets draft picks or Jets prospects that are tradable. And I thought, and with all due respect to the author, he had Elias Salamonson as the first one. And I'm like, the likelihood of the Jets trading Elias Salamonson is between 0.0% and 0.0%. Like he is the right shot.
It's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, again, no, I think what needed to be qualified is it's not going to happen for the crap that's on the trade bait board. Let's put it that way. And that's with all due respect to the guys that are on the trade bait board, but it's not exciting to anyone. It really isn't. Like you're not trading a guy who could be the right shot Dylan Sandberg for Brock Nelson right now, who's a UFA. You're not doing that. So you're not doing it unless you're getting something back with term that's going to, because where is that right shot defenseman going to come from in the system? It's not, or he's not. With all due respect to Tico Pauling wanted me to say Tyrell Bauer, but we're talking about a guy who has top 4 potential. Right. And so, I saw that, and I mean, they had Braden Yager on that list too. And I'm like, again, I don't think that's someone who the Jets are even thinking about.
Anybody can write an article just going down the list of Jets recent draft picks or acquired draft picks.
Well,
they might trade that.
Well, no, but Drew, I wouldn't disagree. But the problem was it was referenced as as if this was your draft cap. These were the players that are possibilities for you to be dealing. And I'm like, you just mentioned two of the top prospects that are definitely not on the list, but hey, I mean, maybe it gives you clicks on the old website, but to me, it wasn't very well researched. If you actually think Elias Salamonson, and then what? Right, 5 minutes from now, Elias Salamonson been traded.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
although let me tell you, not only that, he plays with more edge than Dylan Sandberg. He's got more mean in his game than Dylan Sandberg. That's for sure.
You talk about Dylan Sandberg, and so he wasn't in the Jets lineup tonight, dealing with a family matter. I'm not sure about the details of it. I'm not going to speculate either. It doesn't matter. They expect that he's going to join the team in Philadelphia ahead of Thursday night's contest in the city of brotherly love, which reminds me to remind everybody that we're going to be at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, which is the Boston Pizza of brotherly love. That's Thursday night for the Illegal Curve watch party and live on location post-game show. So Thursday night, join us 6:00, an early puck drop for the Jets and the Philadelphia Flyers. Might a trade happen while the post-game show is going on? It's certainly plausible. It's certainly possible. So be there on Thursday night at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue for the Illegal Curve watch party and live on location post-game show. Again, I'm just going back to sort of my comments a little bit about how the Jets are still outplaying their opponents. This is courtesy of our buddy Connor Hrabchuk. The tweet says 3 straight losses is 3 straight losses, but I'd be a lot more concerned if the scoring chances weren't approximately 60% in Winnipeg's favor every night. And that's really what again, if you're looking at process over results, and from the Jets' perspective, you can sort of take that at this point in the season. If this was October or November, process over results probably doesn't hold much weight. But given what you've done so far this year, given that you're top spot in the league, you can probably go ahead and still be okay with process over results to some degree. And that's where the Jets have still been shining pretty brightly. They have just not been able to get the puck past 3 consecutive goaltenders. UC Saros, of course, remember Fedotov on Saturday night for the Flyers, and then tonight Ilya Sorokin. Sorokin's one of the top goalies in the league. He showed it for a lot of tonight as well.
No, I don't think there's any question. I mean, he is phenomenal, and when he's not scoring goals for the Islanders, Drew, he is a hell of a good goaltender. And it's unfortunate that the Islanders have. Well, I mean, the Islanders don't look like they're, as you said, a very good team. They're kind of that middling team, and the East has a number of middling teams. So we'll see what ends up happening. It is going to make it more interesting as we get closer to Friday. I mean, look, lots of things happened today, right? Jake Evans signed an extension in Montreal. He was rumored to be on the trade bait board. Well, sorry, not rumored. He was rumored. He was actually on the trade bait board, but he ends up signing a 4-year extension with the Montreal Canadiens. So again, like I said, and then of course, Trent Frederick, David Gustafson's best friend, he got traded to the Edmonton Oilers today. So some things were happening, but with some of these teams, I mean, it's an interesting move by Boston that you're somewhat signaling, hey, we don't think we've got it this year. And I don't know this. I know the Bruins I believe they're playing tonight, and I don't know the status of Brad Marchand because I believe he left
He's out week to week.
Oh, it was week to week. Okay, yeah, I saw him get crunched into the boards. I didn't see the final thing. And those asking the question. Scott Arniel didn't have an update on Rasmus Kupari after the game. That looked bad. Of course, his knee. It's interesting though, because I think Kenny Weeb, who put that out there, or Murat, one of the guys, seems like everybody. No, I can tell you, nobody was in town yesterday. There was Mike McIntyre, Paul Friesen, and I, and Kelly Moore. Sorry, the 4 of us were the only media guys left that didn't work for the Jets that were at them inside the arena yesterday for their optional. So everybody else is on the road. They're getting ready to follow Kevin Cheveldayoff off to the hotel in Philadelphia. So not a lot of media people are there. So anyway, so there is no update on Rasmus Kupari. He looked like, again, like I said, Weber said he hit his head into the boards when he fell, but to me, it was the way his leg kind of bent underneath him. And then you could just see him but you did see his face kind of give that look. So he got up and eventually and walked off on his own, but didn't, of course, come back to the game. And doesn't seem like there's going to be an update. Maybe we'll find out tomorrow. Moose are back in action tomorrow night, so we'll see if anybody gets. I'll be at morning skate tomorrow, 10:30 at Canada Life. So there is an update on anybody not being there, I will let everyone know, of course, and I'll get updates on the injured players. I'll get some further clarification. Of course, I know I mentioned in the last show, Drew Parker Ford, he's injured long-term, and I haven't gotten updates on Chaz Lucius. Saw Dylan Coughlin. I'm a little speculative. They said it was day to day, but he was hobbling along today when we were doing media. So I'm not certain about his status. We'll get that update for you guys and girls tomorrow afternoon.
There you go, Dave. I'm giving a quick injury update on the depth of the Winnipeg Jets organization. As the Jets, of course, you got 3 days to go now before the trade deadline. So if you're going to make a big splash, you got 3 days to do it, but just as likely you need to maybe improve that depth, do some make some difference around the margins to improve that depth. You saw what happens to the Jets blue line once you go down one player, especially on the left side with no Dylan Sandberg tonight. It gets thin in a hurry, as it did against the New York Islanders. Some glaring mistakes from people under the spotlight, Logan Stanley, and veteran guys who you're used to expecting a better performance from, Dylan DeMello, namely, in tonight's contest. Just goes to show I didn't think the Jets played that well. They really didn't. I know that they outchanced the New York Islanders, but a lot of tonight's game from the Jets' perspective, in my mind, was haggard, would be a good way to describe it. And now the Jets obviously hope to flush that and get back into the more consistent ways, more winning ways that we're used to this season. That comes on Thursday night against the Philadelphia Flyers. Let's get into it period by period, goal by goal. It's brought to you by our friends at PlayNow.
The PlayNow game recap.
The PlayNow game recap, courtesy of our friends at PlayNow. They're the title sponsor of all of our programming. Don't bet on illegal sites. Bet with PlayNow instead. Manitoba's local, legal, and secure gambling site, 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. Big thanks to our friends at PlayNow for their continued support of the Illegal Curve broadcasts. We mentioned the Jets got off to a great start in tonight's game, really taking it to the New York Islanders early in this contest. The first, 8-9 minutes were all Winnipeg Jets. Ryan Pulock takes a holding penalty at the 8:49 mark as the Jets keep pouring it on. And the power play goes to work for the first time in tonight's contest. They get a number of good looks, but they aren't able to get anything past Ilya Sorokin. And the Islanders, I thought, Dave, really took a lot of momentum from this penalty kill, and so much so that they eventually took the lead in the first period at the 16:49 mark on their own power play. This with Nino Niederreiter in the box for tripping. Kyle Palmieri, his 20th assist to Brock Nelson, assist to Bo Horvat. The Jets are really aggressive on this penalty kill. They try and they send both Alex Iafallo and Dylan DeMello go and try and win a board battle 2-on-1. The problem is when you send two guys to win a board battle and you lose that board battle, you're scrambling, you're out of position. The Islanders with a nice passing play, Horvat to Nelson, Nelson across to Palmieri. He has a wide open net to shoot at, makes no mistake, 1-0 for the New York Islanders.
To be honest with you, Drew, I don't want to harp on Rasmus Kupari, but he just kind of puts himself into a no man's land. I mean, you have to kind of recognize that you've loaded the left side of the ice, or whatever side that was. Sorry,
the right of Connor Hellebuyck, the left, depending on
but you've basically loaded that side, which means if you're the center, you've got to kind of adjust for that. And he doesn't. He's basically taking nobody. Which, if that's the case, it's not good when you're already down a man and you've got nobody within a stick range of yourself. So not a great place for Rasmus Kupari to find himself, at least by my measure. And, obviously Alex Iafallo tries to play it aggressively, like you said, does a couple of pirouettes and in his pursuit. But unfortunately for them, you've got Josh Morrissey at the side. He kind of puts himself into that no man's land as well. But like I said, though, he tries to get over, and then there's no recognition, and it's in the back of the. You could see it happening. I mean, even before Palmieri scored, I was like, well, that's going to be in the back of the net, because you could see the way it was set up perfectly by the Islanders. And again, this is one of the beauty, and I always laugh because I always get a little bit of a chuckle when we analyze hockey because it's such a slow game when you're watching it from the comfort of a couch or the comfort of the press box. But it's a big difference when it's happening in real time. But yeah, I mean, you are right though. I mean, look, one of the things that Dean Chenoweth, the PK coach, talks about is the power kill, right? And the momentum that you can gain from it. So I do agree with you that the Islanders took a lot from killing the Jets PP. And then remember, this is not a team that is a very good power play team themselves. And as I said, they don't score a lot of goals, but that one was set up perfectly. And the Jets I didn't like the way they set themselves up. And as a result, they left themselves to, they left the Islanders the opportunity to make those tic-tac-toe passes and end up in the back of the net.
When the Islanders power play has really been struggling all season long, but really I think they highlighted it on the broadcast, how significant the struggles are. When you're facing a struggling, power play, I think then in those situations more than any, it's important to have your discipline to play your system properly. The Islanders power play has no confidence. If you stay within your box, or you stay within your diamond and you make them make a play, odds are they're not going to be able to make it. They haven't made it all year long. There's no reason why today they all of a sudden would be able to make it. What the Jets do is they just run themselves into trouble by trying to be that aggressive on the boards. Once you're that aggressive and then you get beat, you're talking really about a 3-on-1 to some degree, down low. And even the most struggling power play is going to end up with a good opportunity in that instance. The Jets just played this poorly. They lost their structure at a time when I would have been harping on structure against the Islanders' pretty poor power play. Say that 3 times fast. Just an error in judgment, I thought, by the Winnipeg Jets. And the Islanders, to their credit, made the Jets pay for it. And that's where the first period ended, with the score 1-0 for the Islanders. They take a 2-0 lead very early into the second period as well. Brock Nelson, he gets his 20th of the year, assist to Siplikov and Noah Dobson. And again, the gap here for the Jets defenders, Morrissey and DeMello, is just too wide. And as a result, Dobson is able to find Siplikov, and Nelson on this one. He's able to find Brock Nelson, who's able to move in all alone. And he taps it over to Siplikov, who puts it back to Nelson on the give and go. But just a poor alignment and poor positioning by Morrissey and DeMello, two guys who are usually quite steady, quite reliable, but they're just spread out too far at the wings on this one, and Nelson just goes right up the middle. Nice pass from Dobson and everything, but again, a breakdown by the Winnipeg Jets that gives the Islanders the opportunity. To their Islanders' credit, they make the best of the opportunity, but I'd like to see the Jets not let them have that opportunity to begin with. Again, just poor read, poor positioning, poor alignment, you can take a shot now, folks, attention to detail by the Winnipeg Jets on both the first goal and the second goal.
Well, and I want to make an observation to the chat. When we make our analysis, we're not doing this for the sake of being negative. And I think we're not going to tell you that when the Jets give up a goal, it's pie in the sky and it's fantastic. So, I mean, part of this show is being honest. And again, like I said, I would think all of the shows being about being honest. Maybe we're not honest with each other, pretending like we like each other, Drew, but we have to reflect what actually happened in the game, not say to you, well, this is great. Cause who's going to watch a show where we just talk about the great things the Jets did? If you want, we can just talk about the power play goals, but Jets lost this game. And again, as I tried to counsel when I said this earlier, the Washington Capitals, who are one of the best teams in the league, lost 3 games in a row coming out of the break. The Edmonton Oilers, who I still think are one of the better teams in the NHL. I know they've got their warts, as do all teams, but they lost 5 in a row and they're on their way to losing another one tonight. So all these teams that are good, I mean, Dallas lost. Colorado had a tough stretch of it. So again, it's not the end of the world, but you have to give honest analysis. You can't just say that everything they're doing is great. And to be honest with you, the guys who I blame on this one, in addition to DeMello, or Josh Morrissey and Mark Scheifele, because they're gliding back. They're really not skating hard. Scheifele's watching. I mean, Scheifele is the center, right? Last I checked, he's got to be the first man back, right? And he's not skating hard because, again, in his mind, and probably rightly so, Dylan DeMello usually makes the play. And there's a lot of reason that these guys have faith in their defensemen. But I just watched, he glides back, doesn't take the extra man. And Josh Morrissey, who I would
slow.
It's just, again, Josh, I'm loath, if you want to be honest, to be criticizing Josh Morrissey because he is a workhorse and he's such a great skater, but he's gliding. I mean, he really is. He's just gliding back. And I think he too thought Dylan DeMello had it, even though it's an odd man situation. And just, if he's back, if he strides a little bit harder, there's a chance. I'm not saying he breaks it up 100%, but there's a better chance than he is. And they kind of left Connor Hellebuck, out. They hung him out to dry, I thought, on this play because it's bang bang. It's hard for him. Those are very good passes. I mean, these guys are still NHL players, right? You can still have a bad team and still have guys who can make a freaking good pass. So, it's just an unfortunate kind of a lack of attention to detail, to quote Drew Mandel, my colleague over there. And as a result, you're down 2-0, and 2-0 to the Islanders doesn't seem insurmountable, but Sorokin is a good goaltender. And this is a desperate team who I kind of felt was going to maybe try and go into lockdown mode a little bit, Drew, because of how desperately they need the points. And the fact is, even though it wasn't tremendously onerous to travel home, they did play yesterday.
Right. You want to see them. Exactly. I mean, it sort of just goes to show you that it might not be the back-to-back games that are often as so difficult, but it's the back-to-back with the travel that makes things a little more complicated, because it didn't really look like the Islanders faded energy-wise much during the latter stages of tonight's game. Granted, it's not like the Jets were at their best to begin with, but interesting that when it's really a back-to-back with negligible amounts of travel, such as Manhattan to Long Island, wonder if it's not a back-to-back with a bit of an asterisk next to it. In any event, the Jets do pull within one goal at the 8:48 mark of the second period, about 7 minutes after the Isles took a 2-0 lead. The Jets get their first of 2 power play goals on the night. Josh Morrissey, his 9th of the year, assist to Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor. And we've seen some pretty power play goals this year. This one certainly isn't it. I was tempted to give it the Seagram shot of the game, but I'm not going to. Morrissey with the blast from the point, and it tips off of Simone Holmstrom's stick, and then it just sort of slows to a crawl and redirects on Ilya Sorokin. He's going from, I think if I recall correctly, his right to his left, and all of a sudden the puck is going in slow motion to the area he just vacated, and you can almost hear him screaming, "No!" But the Jets say, "Yes!" And it's a 2-1 game at that point in time. I should go do some voiceover work. I think I'm really good at it.
You're something, all right.
I could be a cartoon character.
Yeah, I could see, like, how, like, what's that thing they call when they like Simpsonize the body? Like you'd be like the what was the guy, the comic book man?
Oh, yeah.
You kind of look like comic book man a little bit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Which I'm trying to remember who his girlfriend was. Principal Skinner's mom.
Really?
Yeah, they had a hot.
Oh,
and heavy
yeah,
romance.
that's right. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds about right for you, Drew.
Yeah, I'm romancing the elderly.
Yes, exactly. But no, I mean, it's funny. Like sometimes you just need something ugly to go in, and sure enough,
and everybody in the chat knew her name was Agnes. Thank you, chat, for being Simpsons fans.
There we go.
Me and Agnes Skinner, we're getting hot and heavy.
Well, anyways, but I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that it doesn't have to be the prettiest goal. And this team has the capacity to score pretty power play goals, but they just they'd gone over 17. And as I said, Davis Payne went through it yesterday with us. If you didn't catch that, go to our YouTube channel. One of the only places you'll find every single interview with Jets players, Moose players, Legal Curve YouTube, which I guess you probably know about because you're probably on it right now watching this show. But if you aren't, remember, subscribe, smash the like button. That always helps. But yes, I just think like, they needed something. They needed something to go in. They had some good looks. They had some good opportunities. And sure enough, it's an ugly kind of deflection bounce in, but regardless, it goes in. They get that reward for kind of the good movement. And suddenly now they've cut the lead to 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1 at that point in time for the Winnipeg Jets. And that's where the second period ended at the same 2-1 margin. And the Islanders, though, they get an early third period goal to regain the
And the Jets,
2-goal lead.
Drew, I was just kidding. The Jets did outshoot them 13-7 in that.
Yeah, look, the Jets were better in the second period. There's no question about it. The Jets were better for the majority of the game. They were the better for the, they were, for the at least the first half of the first period. And then, for a lot of the second period, they were better. The third period, at times that they were also better. The third period was a bit of a low event third period, but the Islanders do.
You mean the period that had 5 shots each team?
The Jets had
5-5.
6-5.
Oh, they
added a late, and they added one for the Jets late in the third. But Ryan Pulak from where's he from? You and Freezer were going back and forth.
Grandview, not Dauphin.
Not Dauphin. Grandview, Manitoba.
I only know because, of course, when I drove past, when I was out that way, heading towards the Duck Mountains, one of my favorite spots in our province. Amazing. If you haven't been, go check it out. Drew, you'd like it. The highest point in Manitoba, Baldy Mountain. So you should go check it out. But I drive
Baldy Mountain. I think I climbed Bald Mountain in Riding Mountain National Park.
Yeah, that's a different spot. But this is Baldy Mountain. It's the highest point in our fair province, 962 meters. I might be wrong. Maybe it's 961, but I'm pretty close, I think.
Okay.
But go check it out. It's very peaceful. It's very cool. Go to the East Blue Lake if you haven't been. If you haven't been to the Duck Mountains, I'm telling you right now, and most Manitobans haven't. We kind of stop, especially Winnipeggers. We tend to stop at Riding Mountain, and it's gorgeous. I love Riding Mountain. But if you can make that extra hour and a half journey or 2 hours, get up to the Duck Mountains. It's a little more rustic, a little more provincial, but it's worth it. So that's this segment brought to you, of course, by our friends at Travel Manitoba.
Yes.
Wellman's Lake. Darwin Moore knows Wellman's Lake. That's further north in the Duck Mountains, but trust me, East Blue Lake is just next level beauty. It's amazing, great fishing, but it's just incredible. So, anyways, that's my soliloquy on that. But yes, so I did drive by the sign in Grandview that says home of Ryan Pulak. So he is from Grandview, but he is often listed as Dauphin.
Well, he scored his 4th goal of the season tonight in the third period. Proved to be the game-winning goal. Anders Lee, Casey Cizikas with the assists on a bit of a seeing-eyed shot on this one. The puck bounces off the ice. It starts with a turnover next to the Jets' goal by Logan Stanley, who I thought over the last number of games hasn't had necessarily the same number of glaring mistakes. This was a mistake, but players of all ilks have mistakes, and this is one for that he's not going to like. You saw him hang his head in shame after the goal got through Connor Hellebuck. The Islanders, forced the turnover. They go low to high. There's a lot of traffic in front of the Jets keeper. I don't think he saw it at all, but Pulak finds the twine and makes it 3-1 for the Islanders with about 15 minutes to play, 16 minutes to play in tonight's contest.
Well, I'm going to fast forward a little bit, Drew, but it did feel like when they got that goal, it was like, oh, okay, 3-1. It doesn't feel like this one's happening, but Logan Stanley just doesn't handle the pressure well. And then unfortunately for him, he just kind of stands there immobile for, and I know folks are going to enjoy that choice of word, but he just, like I said, he gets that double team behind the net, can handle it. Yeah. And again, like I said, this game's not all on Logan Stanley, so don't think I'm saying that. But it was a good pass by Hellebuck, and one of the things we've noticing more and more is Connor Hellebuck's stick handling has gotten better.
Way better.
Again, this was just a unfortunate situation, and that's a bit of a, not only is it a knuckle puck, but it does hit Rasmus Kupari right in the skate and go in off of his skate and past Connor Hellebuck. So it's not about him not seeing it, but he didn't even really have much of a chance because it's not like it went, it beat him clean. It was just redirected in, but just a bit unfortunate. And you've got Alex Iafallo doesn't get out high to kind of block the shot, but it all starts with the handoff, if you will. Go little football analogy, since Davis Payne was using baseball weather and horse racing yesterday. So I'll go football, and we'll say that the handoff was not handled particularly well by Logan Stanley. And one thing we've seen with him is when he does get pressured, that's when he makes mistakes. So
yeah,
he gets pressured.
Panic time at that point.
Yeah, he makes a mistake, and then sure enough, it ends up in the back of the Jets net, and it's a 3-1 goal.
It
3-1
is
game, sorry.
It's a 3-1 game at that point. You're absolutely right. The Jets, I mean, they keep coming, so they do get credit. They don't roll over. So again, glass half full, glass half empty. That's for the half full folks. Ehlers, his 19th on the power play, assist to Kyle Connor and Josh Morrissey. And if you didn't know it was Ehlers, based on how he shot this puck in tight and moved from the goal line back out, you would have thought that he may have been Gabe Velarde, but instead was Nikolai Ehlers, and it's our Seagram shot of the game.
The Seagram shot of the game.
Big thanks to our friends at Seagram's for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. This little bottle of Fireball is made in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So there you go. It's still on your shelf at your local liquor mart, whereas other drinks may not be. But we'll leave the politics for a different show and a different period of time. Thanks to Seagram's for their support. Real nice play from Ehlers, just walking it out and in tight, beating Ilya Sorokin. Again, that's what they talk about when they talk about the Jets power play being recession proof. 2 power play goals on the game for the Jets, no 5-on-5 goals, but certainly a positive in that they are off the schneid that they had been on. The 0-for-17 streak is no longer a talking point. 2 for 2 in the final 2 opportunities of tonight's game, but albeit in a losing cause. A little too late, a little too little, a little too late for the Winnipeg Jets tonight, Dave.
Yeah, and the first line is they really are, and I know the top power play unit, I should say, is taking the mountain share of or the lion's share, I should say. Sorry, I butchered another one, Drew, but the lion's share of power play time. They've consistently been doing that. So that was another, 90% or not quite 90%, 75% of the power play was used by those guys, but they're talented and they can find the back of the net. Nikolai Ehlers, I thought, it's interesting because I think I heard Dan Robertson on the broadcast say it was the most he shot all season long. I think he had 7 shots in the game.
Shots,
yeah. So he was, but even I didn't love the way they kind of managed the puck at the end of the game. I thought that there were some questionable, like they were trying too cute, like get the puck through. There's 4 or 5 guys in front. Your guys, their guys, going to create some havoc. And instead they were trying to get the perfect shot through. And it was like, no, just get a shot through. And the decision at the end, there were a couple of times where Ehlers bobbled it once at the line where he took his eye off of it.
And they got out of the zone.
They forced him out of the zone. And then with, less than 10 seconds to go, they had the puck. They had a chance to at least get a shot away and make it close. And they didn't. So yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful goal. His 19th of the season, the 45th assist of the year for Kyle Connor and Josh Morrissey. Oh, what did he get? His third 40th, at least 40 assist season in a row. He had 62 years ago, 59 last year. He was on pace for around 52 this year. So 44.
What a bop. He's on a downward trajectory.
Hey, Drew, I mean, he's living life. He's got his name etched on a trophy now, the most coveted trophy that anybody would ever want, the Four Nations Cup. So
the one and only time it's ever going to be awarded.
Yeah, exactly. So anywho, at least they were able to, get the power play rolling again. It is important. It is important for those guys to feel good. But there are some guys who are struggling right now. Like Mason Appleton looks like he's struggling right now. I didn't like, to be honest with you, I have to tell you, and I call it, I'm going to go baseball now, balls and strikes. I call it fair, I think. I didn't think that they needed, who was it? Romanov? I didn't think he had to answer for the hit. It was a clean hit.
Yeah.
Like I hate when the Jets have to answer for clean hits. I don't like it when the opponents have to answer for a clean hit.
I don't think he had to answer. I mean, Anders Lee and Adam Lowry, when they dropped the glove.
No, but Lowry came after Romanov right after him. And I'm just saying, like
that, I don't mind dropping the gloves and fighting him.
Sure, but I mean, I think they were kind of separated, right? So I mean,
that's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind if you look, you hit my teammate.
Yeah.
I don't mind the captain going over there.
Sure. No, I'm not arguing that point. I'm saying that I don't like the idea of him of having to fight because it was a clean hit. It was a good hit.
He didn't. And he didn't.
No. I know. I'm just saying, but I just
Now we
you
just
know,
went and gave him a shoulder a little bit, and
Matt
which I don't
thinks
have a problem
Matt
with.
disagrees with you. He thinks that
Well,
Lowry wanted to fight.
Maybe he wanted to, but he didn't. I mean, ultimately
Sure.
what I wanted lots of things in my life. I don't get them.
Okay.
Mrs. Skinner, for example, if you want to go back to that story.
Sure,
but there's things.
But anyways, I'm just saying that, like, to me, Appleton right now is struggling, and
no question. The Jets
Nino Ryder struggling.
Yeah.
And so
Gabe Velarde. When was the last time Gabe Velarde really had a standout performance? I think Kyle Connor and Mark Schaaf. Look, the Jets are struggling to put the puck in the net right now. And you know what? I'll tell you what. We'll go to break and we'll come back and Scott Arniel talked on that exact subject during some of his post-game comments.
Don't believe us. Believe the head coach of the Winnipeg Jets.
Exactly.
Perhaps. I don't know the quote, so I don't know. I don't know if it confirms what we've been saying or disproves what we've been saying.
I'll read you the quote on the other side of the break.
I'm
Tuesday
excited.
night, Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, the Illegal Curve post-game show. It's presented by PlayNow. Don't go anywhere.
We want to thank you for not betting with PlayNow and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with PlayNow, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Centre. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime, visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Centre. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in two unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
At Boston Pizza, a fast lunch doesn't have to mean fast food. Now you can get a $15 lunch served in just 20 minutes, including your choice of a main, side, and drink. That's right, lunch for $15 at your local Boston Pizza.
Our local Boston Pizza is Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, and that's where we'll be on Thursday night for the Jets and the Flyers, the Illegal Curve watch party, the Illegal Curve post-game show. It will be a gooder. So join yours truly, join Dave Minuk. Apparently Ginsburg is going to be there as well. And hopefully a cast and crew of characters that are always here in the chat, and even some who might not be chatting, who just want to make an appearance. That's where we'll be on Thursday night. We'll talk about the Jets and the Flyers, talk about the trade deadline. Lots going on. So we look forward to seeing you on Thursday night at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. I mentioned a post-game quote from the Winnipeg Jets head coach, Scott Arniel. We're in the funk right now when it comes to scoring goals. I'm in the funk right now because I'm going to get groovy here in a minute or two. But the Jets head coach says that the team is in the funk right now when it comes to scoring goals. And teams go through these. You look around the league, a lot's happened in different spots. We just got to stay with it. For us, it's making sure that we're defending well. We got to win these games 1-0. We'll have to work to do that. But at the end of the day, I like the effort that the team put forth in tonight's contest. I added the in tonight's contest part. He said, I like that effort. He's talking about the game. So there's the Jets head coach talking about the team's effort. Again, a third straight game where the Jets, outchanced, outshot, out-attempted their opponent, but are having some trouble finding the twine behind the goaltenders that they're facing. Tonight, 75 shot attempts for the Winnipeg Jets, coming off the heels of Saturday night's game when they had 73 shot attempts. So the shot attempts are a lot. The goals, which is what ultimately matters, are not. That's for you to talk now.
All right. Well, I mean, that I wasn't sure. You seem so like kind of cliffhangery. I was kind of like, okay, maybe we want to move on to something else.
I thought you'd have some sort of insight into.
No, I mean, like,
here's what Adam Lowry had to say after the game, courtesy our buddy Muratatesh, who's there on the road trip, going to be covering the trade deadline as well. Adam Lowry liked the Jets' first 10 minutes tonight. He thought it turned on Kyle Palmieri's power play goal to end the first and Brock Nelson's goal to start the second. Said he liked what the Jets created versus what they gave up, but, quote, I know I missed a couple grade A chances. So that's the Jets captain talking about how they'll, sort of long and the short of it is the team is just struggling to find the net right now. Something they've been very good at doing for most of the season, mind you.
Yeah. And I think the key is like, these guys have to work this through. I mean, this is not as true. I mean, think about how we started the show. This is a team that has 3 winning streaks of 7, 8, and 11 games this season. Like they've got 3 losing streaks of 3, 3, and 4. Right. And even in this losing streak, right, they've got a point out of it because they have the loss, of course, to
the shootout loss to
Philly. So you've gotten at least 1 point out of the 6. And yeah, I mean, look, I just saw the I don't know who, I can't remember if Chevy's Ego maybe posted it, but like the Dallas Stars are charging, right? They're 6 back and they've got 1 game in hand, I think, because they played tonight. So
they're in action tonight. They beat New Jersey. They beat New Jersey tonight.
Yeah, although they blew it. They had a 4-1 lead, I think, and then they blew. What was the final score?
Well, it was 4-3, but what happened was Thomas Harley scored with 5 seconds to go in regulation to give the Stars the win. So it was 3-1 for Dallas.
Oh, so sorry, it was 3-1. They blew a 3-1 lead. It was 3-all.
Blew a 3-1
and then they scored 4. Okay.
Well, they blew a 3-1 lead in the back half of the third period. New Jersey scored with 8 minutes to go, and then they tied it up with 4 minutes to go. And then Thomas Harley scored with 5 seconds to go to give the Stars the regulation time victory on the out-of-town scoreboard. So Dallas, I mean, I'm not surprised that Dallas isn't going away. They are still, to that effect, still 6 points behind the Winnipeg Jets.
No. I mean, again, like I said, I think the Jets still have. Like you're not writing the Jets obituary as the first place team in the NHL. And I mean, I just think like this is one of those stretches that guys, it's not, I guess the way I'd look at it is you're not pinpointing this on one person. It's not like you're like, okay, this guy's been terrible and he's the reason why this team is losing. I think this team has the potential. I mean, look, first of all, they've had the opponent's goaltending has been very good in all the last few games. You have to credit them. They've been excellent. That some of the netminders they've faced. But yeah, I mean, guys aren't getting to pucks that, could, I'm trying to think, like, was it today's game? There was one that was like just almost a tap and it hopped. Like there were a couple of opportunities where guys, could have changed the whole nature of the game. It's the way hockey is. And just, one of the things that Davis Payne talked about is not so much about the puck luck, just about the fact that they're getting those chances and he wants to see them. Look, they made mistakes tonight. Those mistakes end up in the back of their net and they've got to get better. So there's some things that they're going to need to improve on. But if Scott Arniel's happy with his group, then that's, I guess he's the coach. He's got to have them ready to go. They're going to, I think that tomorrow's an off day, if I recall correctly, and then they're back in action on Thursday in Philly. So I believe tomorrow they're off. So the guys they're not even though they played a relatively heavy schedule, Drew, with whatever it was, like 5 and 8.
It was 4 and 6, and I think this one also is 4 and 6 when you consider Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. So it's 4 and 6, 4 and 6, and then it maybe loosens up a little bit next week, where I think they only play twice next week, Tuesday and Friday, if I recall correctly. Look, I also think that there's something to be said for the players want the trade deadline to be come and gone, just so they know who's going to be lined up next to them for the rest of the season. Not that the Jets are expecting a lot of subtractions from their active roster. That would be, that would be unusual for what we're anticipating for the trade deadline. But come Friday at 3:00, who you're going to go to battle with for the remainder of the season. So that's just one sort of tentpole event in the NHL calendar that you get over. Then you got the, what is it going to be? I guess at that point in time, 19 games left in the regular season. Who's going to line up with you. Who's going to be alongside you. So you can sort of get over Friday, begin to really laser focus on the rest of the regular season, and then the playoffs, where the Jets continue to hope that it'll be a lengthy playoff run. And I don't see anything, despite the 3-game losing streak, that is a overwhelming cautionary flag that would say maybe the Jets are a bit of a paper tiger. Maybe the Jets are a little bit of
paper dragon,
paper tiger, as we've talked about. We'll know more, of course, Thursday. We'll know more on Friday. And we encourage you to be there with us, lockstep with us, as we get through this trade deadline week, as the Jets play Thursday night, as the Jets play Friday night. We'll be at Boston Pizza on Thursday. We'll be at home for the post-game show on Friday. Sunday, they're on the road in Carolina. We'll be right there with you every step of the way. Thursday show, Friday shows, Saturday morning show, Sunday afternoon show. It's a busy week of Illegal Curve shows coming your way, which is all the more reason for you to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, ring that bell. Come on, Pavlov, ring that bell. Tell your friends, tell your family the best place to be after each and every Winnipeg Jets game. And again, on Saturday mornings, is the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. We'll be at Boston Pizza on Thursday night. We want you to be there as well. That's BP Taylor. Be sure to be there 6:00. That's when we'll be there for the Jets and the Flyers, and then the post-game show. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel. As I mentioned, illegalcurve.com is updated every night, every minute, every hour when it needs to be updated. That's your number one resource alongside our YouTube channel. So be sure to be there for both of those things. Want to say thank you to our sponsors. They make the show a possibility. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. PlayNow, they're the title sponsor. Boston Pizza, Holt Dental, City Place. We'll be at City Place not this Friday, but next Friday, the 14th, Friday the 14th, the Jets and the Dallas Stars will be at City Place. So be sure to join us there at 12 noon. And of course, Seagram's, a great Canadian liquor company. Be sure to support them in the midst of all the nonsense that's surrounding us in the world today. For Dave Minuk, I'm your host.
I don't think so, Drew.
On your antlers, it's time for the Minuk Moose Minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
If you think...
I thought I could sneak it under the wire.
If you think you're going to sneak through the end of this show...
Sorry, I tried.
Come on, people. Give Drew the gears. You think that he was going to try and get... The T-Kona Pauly knows what time it is. Come on, Drew. You know what time it is? Time for the Minuk Moose Minute. So sit back, relax, and listen to some talk about the AHL club of Manitoba, the one that won their hockey game, Drew.
There's been very few wins for you to talk about this year, so you might as well talk about today's win.
I was going to say there have not been a lot of wins at all to discuss. And when you're, Jets goaltending prospect, Dominic DiVincentis, is celebrating his 21st birthday, then you got to, talk about the big effort today. The Moose were, of course, playing at 10:30 this morning in the Project 11 school day game. Obviously a great cause to help support Project 11 and the kids getting a chance to go to the game. And it was an amazing atmosphere. The Canadian national anthem was awesome. Ace Burpee does his usual great work helping out with this cause. And the Moose had Jared Anderson Dolan back. Of course, he was returned because of the Jets were back to full health. And just 23 seconds to this one, Axel Jonsson-Fjällby scores just his 8th goal of the season. But it, of course, got the Moose started. But much like the game we saw from the Jets, Drew, the Moose also kind of took a little bit of a lull because the Grand Rapids Griffins
take a little nappy poo.
They took a little nappy because they decided, it's DiVincentis' 21st birthday. The kid says he likes getting lots of shots. We're going to give him lots. I don't think those are the kind of shots he was looking for on his 21st birthday.
Is he going to Vegas? Is he going to Vegas tonight for some shots?
He might be, but let me tell you, because he's old enough in Canada and he's Canadian, so it doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is, they gave him, I think they were outshot 16-4 after one period. But of course, he had the shutout, so he was rolling along. A couple of tight ones. He made some really nice plays on a penalty kill, I should say. Mark Lewinsky, speaking of the Dauphin region, he got his 3rd goal of the season. He made it 2-0. And then the captain, Dominic Tonnato, he scored his 13th on the power play with assist to Elias Salamonson and Brad Lambert. They, of course, lead the Moose, the Jets prospects, in assists. So through 40 minutes of play, Dominic DiVincentis with a 27-save shutout. He did make one more spectacular save on a 5-on-4, but with the Moose down on a 5-on-3, Shai Buim, who is the brother to the he's a Red Wings 2nd-round pick from 2021. His brother, of course, is the one drafted plays for University of Denver.
Right? Or Zev?
Yeah, Zev. Yeah, that's right. He's a Minnesota prospect. He was drafted, I think, this last year, and he was a top 10 pick, I think. And but this Shai, he scored his first goal as a pro to make it 3-1 on the 5-on-3. But Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, he's like, you know what, forget it. I'm gonna get my 2nd. He gets his 9th goal of the season. So that was a shorthanded goal on the subsequent 5-on-4 that returned the lead to 4-1. And then for good measure, Tyson MP scored to make it a 5-1 game with Jared Anderson Dolan feeding him the puck from behind the net. And the Griffins managed to score one more. So the Moose did win big 5-2 over the Griffins. Thousands of kids got to celebrate. I mean, they would have celebrated regardless. And the Moose now are 4-2, 0-1 in their last 6 games. So a very happy Dom DiVincentis. And like I said earlier in the show, folks, I will be getting updates on Dylan Coughlin, who, as far as we know, is day-to-day. Chaz Lucius dealing with his medical condition. And, of course, Parker Ford. I might get some more clarity with only 20 games to go for the Moose. So we'll see if there's any more clarity on him and see if he's an option. I did see Nikita Chibrikov, so he's still in town and with the team, which is a good sign as well.
There you go. Dave M., I apologize. I should never have even considered sneaking off without hearing that kind of insight and analysis that you'll only get here regarding your local AHL squadron, the Manitoba Moose. On that note, folks, that's it for us on the Illegal Curve post-game show. 3-2, the Islanders defeat the Winnipeg Jets. For more post-game coverage, be sure to head over to illegalcurve.com. And, of course, our YouTube channel is a regular resource as well.
And sorry, Drew, if they want to go to the game tomorrow night, because the Moose are having a rematch with the Griffins tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock start. We've got tickets in the Legal Curve zone. So we appreciate everyone sticking with us. Sorry, I meant to throw this in. That was actually why I was going to interject in the first place. Dave at illegalcurve.com. If you want to go to the game, 4 tickets, Illegal Curve zone. You can take 2. You can take 4. Don't ask me for odd numbers. I don't like giving odd numbers. So take 2.
Numbers are odd.
Yeah, take 2 or take 4, please.
There you go. Dave M's got tickets for tomorrow night. Go check out the Moose. Something fun to do on a Wednesday night. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Reminder, Thursday at Boston Pizza, illegalcurve.com. Smash the like button, etc., etc. Until Thursday night, right around that 8:45 mark, but of course live on location at 6 p.m. For Dave Manouk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. We wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.